The wait is over. Welcome to the Dolphins Schedule Release Show. I'm Mike Cunha alongside Kim Bocamper, Steve Goldstein, Samantha Rivera also in the house. The NFL has just dropped the 2024-2025 schedules literally in the last few minutes here. Teams have been busy pumping out their fun social media content, the Dolphins included. We're going to have that drop shortly. But first, guys, let's run through the schedule, what the Fins are looking at. Drum roll, please. And there it is. All right, we've seen a lot of stuff being released over social media the last few days.
They spilled the beans early.
They did. They spilled the beans a lot. But you know what? For the most part, it looks like most of those reports were right. As you see here, Mike McDaniel at Crunch Time, we're going to get to that. But if we have that schedule, we could pull it up. If not, guys, they're going to open up the season in a Florida team thing. Here we go. September 8th. Sunday, Jags versus Dolphins here at Hard Rock Stadium. You have to wait very long for their first primetime game, Bills versus Dolphins, in Week 2, September 12th as a Thursday nighter. Then they got the Seahawks. That is their first road game of the year. They got to go way out west. And then again, they're going to play the Titans. 2 primetime games in the first month of the season. One, that Titans game is going to be a rematch of where the Dolphins season kind of went off the rails a season ago. As we see their bye week, October 13th. Before that, they'll get their first matchup with the Patriots. They've got the Colts, Cardinals, and Bills as well to wrap up that first half of the season. Let's take a look at the next half of the season now for the Miami Dolphins. November 11th, Dolphins at the LA Rams. Again, going back out west, followed by a meeting versus Christian Wilkins and the Raiders here in Miami. That should be a fun one. Patriots are in town after that. Then on Thursday, Thanksgiving, another primetime event for the Fins.
Bundle up, Bocamper.
They're at Lambeau
Get some
Field.
turkey ready.
Make sure it's not minus 30 when you head back up north.
Frozen sweet potatoes
That's right.
for Bocamper.
They're taking on the
I'm
Packers.
hanging around refrigerators now, so I'm prepared for it.
Make sure you have your coffee, your hot chocolate, everything. Then we get our first meeting with the Jets. It doesn't happen until the first week of December. That's a 1 o'clock game on CBS, and they're going to visit C.J. Stroud and the Texans. The Niners are coming this way. Don't have to worry about a third West Coast road trip. That's nice. And then really 2 games in the AFC that could determine the Dolphins' outcome in terms of playoff seeding. You got at the Browns and then at the Jets on the road. Okay, now that we have everything under control, guys, we've seen the schedule. It's, again, it had been floated out there on social media. If you've been paying attention, for the most part, everything looked like how we thought it would be. But let's get your reactions. Bo, I'll start with you. When you look at this schedule, what's jumping out to you? What do the Dolphins have to prepare for, worry about?
Well, they'll play the Bills in the first 2 times in the first 8 weeks. I think that's good. I think the Bills in Week 2 look. When I look at the Bills and the Dolphins, the defenses normally are ahead of the offenses early in the season. So this time for the Dolphins, their offense is going to be way ahead of their own defense. Buffalo will be struggling with their defense because they've lost a number of players on that defense. It's an opportunity for the Dolphins, and I think Week 2, I think they're going to beat the Buffalo Bills here. I think they're going to beat the Buffalo Bills here. And if you look at the first 7 games, I would say there's an opportunity for them to go 7-0 before they hit the Buffalo Bills.
Kim Boldcamper. That's your new nickname. Kim Boldcamper.
I'm picking a win against Buffalo in Week 2.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that there's a good chance that they win all 7.
So possibly 5-0 before the bye week. So they're just humming along.
There you go.
All right, Goldie, what's your reaction when you look at the schedule?
Well, first of all, it's the most primetime games in about 20 years for the Dolphins.
Yes.
So that is great. They're the fastest team in the league.
5 or 6 of them here,
They scored nearly 500 points last year. So why not put them in prime time? It's like a track meet, and some of those games are tough in LA, in Green Bay, in Cleveland. My first impression is, similar to what you say, Bo, clean up early. You got 3 home games in September. You can sweat these teams out of Hard Rock. Then you have that bye, and then you got Indy, decent team on the road, but Arizona's coming in. Mike McDaniel, 2 years as head coach. They started 3-0 both years, 8-3 last year, 9-3 the year before. I don't know if it's going to be 7-0, Bo, but I agree with the premise. Start off well, and then just hold your ground the rest of the way to make the playoffs.
I've always thought that one of the things that you gauge what your team's going to be like is how many primetime games you have. That's what the NFL thinks of this football team. 5 primetime games. The NFL thinks a lot of this Miami Dolphin football team because of the high-flying offense, and if that defense can get a little better, this could be a very, very good year for the Dolphins with this lineup.
When I look at this schedule, and I'm with you guys about the primetime stuff, and I kind of agree. I think they get off to a hot start. But look at the quarterbacks the Dolphins are going to go up against this year. We talk about the changing of the guard sometimes in the NBA. Like the LeBrons are going out, the Currys are going out. Well, same thing with the quarterbacks in the NFL. Yes, Aaron Rodgers is aging, but look what the Dolphins have to deal with.
By the way, is Aaron Rodgers going to make it to either of those games? Yes or no?
Well,
give me your prediction.
It's
you
December.
Do this.
Yes.
You do this to us all the time. I'm doing it to you.
Because he'll miss a few weeks in the middle of the year.
You believe he plays a game against the Dolphins this year?
I do.
Okay.
But look, C.J. Stroud.
I might give you a little wager on
Will
that.
Levis, who they lost to last year. Anthony Richardson. Brock Purdy, Jordan Love. This is the new crop, the new age of quarterbacks that's kind of coming behind the Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, obviously young. They don't
no
deal with
Mahomes this year, at least till the playoffs.
Till the playoffs, yes. No Lamar Jackson either.
Right.
First time in a couple years they don't have to deal with him. All right, let's move over to our Samantha Rivera right now. And Samantha, you look at this schedule. We talk about the hot start the Dolphins could have, according to Bo. But what does this schedule tell you in terms of Mike McDaniel's success and, of course, Tua against the AFC?
Yeah, well, I don't know about you guys, but hearing the schedule kind of has me ready to run through a brick wall with all this excitement. But you know who's more ready than me? Like McDaniel, of course, getting ready for his 3rd year in Miami. So let's take a look at the numbers here. Beginning at the start of the season, of course, September through November, he is 16-6. It's those last 2 months, though, that have been a little rougher, right? 4-10 during December and January. His first year as head coach, McDaniel and the Finns lost to the Bills in the playoffs, obviously 34-31 in Buffalo. And then, of course, this past postseason was cut short after losing to the Chiefs 26-7. One of the coldest games they have ever played in Kansas City. Gives me a little PTSD thinking of how cold Mike Cunha was out there. But what do you guys think? Could the 3rd time really be the charm for McDaniel? Could he take this team farther?
It's an interesting question because there's really only 2 division games. It's not like Patriots, Bills, Jets to end the year. It's the Jets twice between December and January 4th, 5th. Not sure what day that'll be because that's at Saturday, Sunday flex. But again, the Browns, the Niners, and the Texans. I think that Browns game looms huge at the end of the year.
That's a night game in Cleveland.
Considering how good that defense is.
The bottom line is if they're going to win the division for the first time since 2008, and we all thought they were going to win the division last year, and they didn't, they've got a minimum split with Buffalo. You got to get that home win.
That's the rule.
That Thursday night game, they've got to find a way to win that game. So even if you lose the game there, then you take care of your business against these other teams. The Dolphins are looking for a division win. It's been a long time since Chad Pennington.
You know, when you talk about Mike McDaniel, he's got to set the tempo and the tone for what this team's got to be. And you know they've got speed. He's got to get this team being more physical. He's got to bring physicality into this team and start it early on. With that running back, you're going to have speed in Mostert, Achane, and you got Jalen Wright. He's a 210-pound running back, a bruiser that can help. If you get that offensive line set, you can have the speed game and you can have the power game. And the longer that power game goes on, it's going to help you in the latter part of the season when it gets cold. When you go to Green Bay, when you go to the Jets late, when you go to Cleveland at the end of the season. If you can set that tone, if they go into December with track meets all the way, it's going to be another game, and it's going to be another season like we had last year, where with 6 games in, we were the number 1 seed in the AFC.
It was in their hands,
and the bottom fell out of it. So to me, you've got to find that physical tempo in this team and carry it through the whole season.
I'm glad you mentioned Jalen Wright because he's going to be busy during the preseason, as are the 3 of us, of course, we think.
Now, this is the real schedule that we're looking for. There we go.
Here's the preseason schedule. Right. That is out as well. The Dolphins will have 2 home games. That's good news for Dolphin fans who are season ticket holders, and 1 on the road. They're going to start against the Falcons Friday, August 9th, Saturday against the Commanders, Saturday, August 17th, then Friday, August 23rd. That's their only road game in the preseason. Dolphins at the Bucs, and guys, I got to imagine some of this is going to include some joint practices.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And my favorite part of the trip to Tampa is that Kim Bokamper picks me up in his big SUV, throws me in the back, and he drives me right to Tampa. I can't wait, Bo.
I never get the ride. I have to drive up by myself.
You can come with us. I got a sedan, but Goldie, Goldie wants to sit in the back seat. He wants me to chauffeur him up there.
Just stop at the Dairy Queen south of Sarasota. I'm all set, Bo.
Does he give you the little hat?
I'm going to drop you off at the Villages and see what's going on up there.
What happens?
That's inland, the Villages.
I'm not sure what happens, but I've heard rumors.
We don't pass the Villages when Bokamper's
I'm going to get to the bottom of that in
right up 75.
First commercial break.
You don't want a part of this ride,
I give him the ride, and Goldie pays for the dinners.
Okay.
He what? Don't we have to go to break or something?
I have to learn some things in the break. We'll be right back with more of the schedule breakdown. Again, the Dolphins schedule is out. We'll continue breaking it down as we continue here on the schedule release show.
Dolphins Schedule Release 2024 is sponsored by HCA Florida Healthcare, helping South Florida live a healthier tomorrow.
Finally, it's done.
Let's do this.
Let's watch it.
It's perfect.
A perfect schedule release video for the fastest team in the NFL. That's how you get it done. Short and sweet. Look, I know the Chargers, they do a great job with theirs. Theirs is like a whole movie. Yep. But hey, we've been waiting all offseason.
Raheem and Tyreek, even sitting there, they look fast.
Yeah. No. Great job by the Dolphins staff there. But listen, in that schedule, if you didn't blink, you probably noticed there's a lot of prime time games on the schedule this year. I don't know if we can consider, I guess you consider Thanksgiving.
I do.
For sure it is.
What does it put it at?
8:20 is prime time, buddy.
Five prime time games this year.
Most in 20 years.
I know. Which one are you guys looking forward to the most here? I guess should be the first question. That Bills one.
Yeah.
To me, stands out because it's like you want to see what that retooled defense with Anthony Weaver will look like against some real stiff competition. Not to take anything away from the Jags, but of course the Dolphins, arch enemy.
I think it's a great opportunity to stick your flag in the AFC East, man, and say, hey, the Buffalo Bills, you guys are has-beens. We're the new regime in town.
Did the Bills get off easy coming into Miami in September and playing at night?
Well, the night game helps them out a little bit, but we know in September, dude, it might be
90 in the shade.
Yeah, it's going to be swampy out there. But they've got, again, I know I said it earlier, they've got to find a way to control Josh Allen, who's dominated this series, and they got to beat those guys. I know that 2 years ago they got the home win, but last year it not only cost them division, may have cost them the #1 seed or at least a home game.
But look, the second game, it's week 8, so it's going to be the weather's not going to be a factor up there in week 8. So if you can't beat them, if you can't sweep them this year, then you're never going to sweep them until Josh and those guys, are on the rocking chair.
But Bo, help me out here because we are seeing 2 West Coast trips. You got Seattle and you got the LA Rams. What is it? How difficult is that for a player heading out west?
To Miami to Seattle is the longest trip in the NFL.
Yeah.
We've done it a number of times, and it is long. My thought would be they'd probably go out on a Wednesday maybe and just try to get acclimated there. The LA trip, it's not that much. I mean, you kind of get used to it, and I think at that point in the season, you don't want to be out there for a long time. You want to get back and get yourself back into the routine. But you look at Seattle, I'm not concerned about Seattle. Geno Smith is a quarterback. They got a first-year head coach. I don't think that really doesn't concern me that much. But the travel is going to be difficult.
And that Rams game ends a stretch. They've got one home game in about 40 days because they have the 3 out of 4. So after the Tennessee game at night, they're on the road except for one game, and it ends in LA against the Rams. But hey, Dolphins had a great game out there. I know it was the Chargers, but same stadium, had a great win out there last year. The offense was cooking.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens with the Rams with Matthew Stafford. I mean, he's often injured. I mean, we're talking about one of the more
and look, he's another year older, deeper in debt, right?
And no Aaron Donald. So that's something, at least that new look offensive line for the Dolphins. You talk about
whoever's
Aaron Brewer, not going to have to worry about.
Whoever the center should be. should be kissing that schedule
Oh,
right
a
now.
lot of people probably.
Aaron Brewer is very happy that he's now a Dolphin. Start new center, probably.
He certainly is. All right, I want to get to some other notable games here, and I want to start. And people may not think this is notable, but we again in the first block we mentioned kind of changing the guard at quarterback. We're seeing that in the AFC East too. The Patriots, Drake May, and all of a sudden, is this another year where the Dolphins have an opportunity, Bo, to sweep the Patriots?
Yeah.
Are the Patriots now bottom looking up for at least another couple years until they figure out the quarterback
I think a
position?
lot of people after the draft said that Drake May got drafted a little. They reached a little bit on Drake May, and if you listen to what's Jared Mayo, the coach, he didn't speak too glowingly after that rookie mini
Pretty
camp.
interesting after a mini
you
camp.
Okay,
He's saying he's got a lot of work to do.
So I think the New England Patriots, they may be the worst team in the AFC East again this year. The Buffalo Bills and the Jets. Look, the Jets. Everything with the Jets hinges on one guy, and that's it, and one Achilles. That's it.
Yeah. Any other notable games for you guys, Goldie, that when you looked at the schedule, you went, you know what, this is one I kind of want to circle?
Well, the Buffalo game is the game for me. You hope you get off to that good start, beat Jacksonville, but again, they got to make that statement, or else everyone's going to be talking about it again.
No Stephon Diggs.
So I think they got a great chance to win the game. But I'll tell you this: if the Dolphins are having the kind of season like they've had the last couple of years under Mike McDaniel, as mentioned, started 8-3, started 9-3. That primetime game, Thanksgiving night at Lambeau, going in there, that could be another one of those games where you kind of, as you say, Bo, you put your flag in the ground and you come up with a big win. But the division games, and this one in particular, Hard Rock will be rocking. It's a night game. And again, you got to control Josh Allen to get that win.
Week 2, that's a statement game already. If you drop that game, woe is me starts coming out, right? And then you're kind of battling uphill.
Yeah. But how interested do you think Dolphin players are to reunite with Christian Wilkins on the field? The fans are going to have the Raiders Sunday, November 17th.
As long as you're on defense, you really don't care.
Here in Miami.
Anybody in that offensive line, they're kind of going, oh, yeah, man. I mean, look, he felt. I think he's got a bone to pick with this football team. I think feels they just let him go.
Some fans still feel burned about it.
And he's going to. Well, who cares about the fans? It's those two guys that are going. It's those two guys. Those three guys in the middle. They're going to have to block them. Those are the guys that are concerned. Fans can have their say, but those guys are the ones that's going to get. They're the ones that are going to get brutalized
for sure.
If they don't step up.
Yeah, no, I think it's funny. The Wilkins thing, it'll be interesting to see how the players react to him. Like, at least when he comes on the field, during warm-ups, we're down there on the – that's what I think where everyone's attention is going to be. As soon as he walks out the tunnel, what's the reaction?
I remember when the Dolphins let Jordan Phillips go up to Buffalo. And ever since he went up to Buffalo, every time they played up there, he made big play after big play after big play. And I think we're going to see the same thing out of Christian Wilkins. Big play after big play after big play, because he wants to let them know that, hey, you made a mistake.
Goldie, do you think he has a a loving response from the crowd when he runs out onto the field? Do you think it's going to be?
For sure. I think Mike McDaniel's going to give him a hug. Look, what Christian Wilkins, the way he played for this franchise. What else can you say? He put it all out there on the field, and he comes off a career year. So, sure, everyone's going to welcome back. Then they're going to kick it off, and they hope they dominate the guy.
Look, he knew that was going to be his last year, and he played as well as anybody could play.
And he got paid.
He didn't lay off. He didn't mope. He went out there and he played the way he needed to play. I think if you're a Dolphin fan, when he comes out, you should stand on your feet and give that guy a standing ovation.
But who's going to be fired up for September 12th against Buffalo? Jordan Poyer. He's going to be fired up for the Dolphins and Saran Neal.
Yeah. Well, Jordan Poyer, it's so funny because it seemed like he'd been wanting to be down here in Miami for a long time.
He's been lobbying for it.
He finally gets a chance. All right, we are going to see Aaron Rodgers. We kind of mentioned it in the last block.
It's a little late in the season for the 40-year-old.
It is December 8th. Let's see if he can get through 4 plays, let alone 4 games. But this could be his first trip to South Florida.
Is it just me, or does he look a lot older this year than even in that picture last year? He looks like he's aged 3 years.
He could be on your Out to Pasture podcast.
He's close. He's close.
He's close.
Is he almost 40? Is he almost 40 now?
He's 40, isn't he?
He's 40-something.
Yeah. Let me ask you what happens with the Jets. Let's say Aaron Rodgers does go down again. Do they have to blow that whole thing up?
No, they just start looking for a new head coach, because that's the first thing that's going to happen is he's going to be fired.
Yeah.
No fault of his own. No fault of the team for making that move with Aaron Rodgers. They're going to be every game. they're going to be walking a tightrope with Aaron Rodgers. And if he goes down, I don't care who else comes in. And they got those great receivers. They got a great running back. They got a great defense. If Aaron Rodgers are there, they're just another team.
But if he's healthy, you know, that D can play. They can run the ball. They got a good running. Remember, they somehow won 7 games. I think they were so stunned by what happened in that first Monday night game. It took them like a month or two to even recover.
Right.
I know the Dolphins beat them up good, especially at home, shut them out. But they were pretty competitive the second half of the season in most of their games.
Yeah, and it'll be funny to see because I know Hurricane fans don't want to hear this, but Jordan Travis is on the team now. They picked him up late in the draft. Imagine if Aaron Rodgers goes down and Jordan Travis all of a sudden picks up. So he was so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
He was a Heisman candidate before breaking his leg last year. Imagine if he comes back into Hard Rock Stadium and starts haunting Miami football fans.
Didn't he run out? Didn't Aaron Rodgers run out with a flag?
Yes, last year.
They're going to let him run out with that flag.
I wouldn't even let him run out.
Yeah. So
they're going to just carry him out.
So they're up by 20 in the beginning of the fourth quarter. Do you take him out every game?
1,000%. If I'm the Jets,
exactly.
Any game up or down,
out.
Any game that's
out.
You know, it's being serious, not joking around. Because he only has so many more plays left, and you need him late in the year.
Yeah.
You got to get there. You got to get to the playoffs. So I think any game that's a big number either way for the Jets, they get him some rest. They can get the other guys some work too.
Dan Marino went through the same thing late in his career. And he came back, and they had designed a shoe for him. They did everything. So there's ways you can mitigate that. I'm sure they'll do the same thing. Danny came back and was the same old Danny. Threw it to Irving Fryer that first game.
Remember that against the Patriots.
There you go.
I remember that boot. It was like a moon boot.
That was a heck of a throw. Wasn't it fourth down on that pass too?
Yeah.
All right, we've kind of gone through the AFC here, AFC East anyway, but let's bring back Samantha Rivera. Sam, Tua, he's got to go through these. We could talk about what the Dolphins can do against these teams, but what's Tua's success been like since he's been the starter with Miami?
Yeah, well, guys, the Dolphins are going to have plenty of experience this year, obviously, including QB Tua Tagovailoa, building a name for himself entering his 5th year in the league. So during that time, he's come out with some interesting records in the AFC East. Let's start with the positive, though. 6-0 against the Patriots and then 5-0 against the Jets. It's those Bills that refuse to let him live his life, right? 1-6 against those guys. But listen, all in all, Tua's 12-6 against all AFC East teams. So, guys, could this be the year he really shows out against Buffalo? What do you think?
It has to be. Yeah, it has to be because we're talking about he's gonna make a lot of money. We assume that the contract gets done before the season. And
it's going up, too.
It's going up. Shout out Jared Goff. High five to him because he just jacked up the market a little bit as well. But if you look at this season with Tua, if he doesn't at least split against the Bills, is this a failure?
Well, look, he's got to put this team on his shoulders at some time and win a game. He's got to take this team and win a game late in the season.
Moments.
He's got to have signature moments. He's going to have an opportunity in week 2. Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing him falling behind and then seeing if Tua can bring him back, because that would give him the confidence later down the road, later in the season, when you're in some dire straits and he's got to pull something out and put that team on his shoulders. He's got to learn to do that. To me, is the only thing that he lacks, is that ability to see. We've seen him throw the ball well. We've seen him, and look, they've given Jonnu Smith, so someone in the red zone. You got some other, the running back room.
They're loaded.
Spectacular.
Yeah, they're loaded on offense.
And so if he can utilize all those things, and like I said, if he can win the game, if you walk out of that game against Buffalo and say, man, Tua really took that team to the woodshed, then I think he's got the confidence, the team has the confidence, and Mike McDaniel can get him going towards the end of the season.
Well, the 2 losses last year, the game in Buffalo was a disaster all the way around.
Right.
The home game, the offense couldn't move the ball at all. But I thought it was really the special teams that cost that game, and you got to shut that down. Now, the year before, he got the home win and played great in that snow game late in the season and then didn't play in the playoff game. So, I think he's played okay against Buffalo, but 100% the narrative will be Tua Tagovailoa against Josh Allen. Can Tua beat him even though they're not on the field at the same time? That's
You're putting your 7-0 prediction on the line.
I'm confident with it still. But look, we've talked about the offense and the defense, and you bring up a good point. Those special teams have to be much better than they were over the last couple of years. Much better. Danny Crossman's still there. He's got to find a way. And all these guys now, all these rookies now, he's got to be looking at each one of those guys and where can he fit on my special teams to help us get better than we did in the last couple of years.
I do think getting Neal McDaniel from Buffalo he is a special teams ace.
And you know what? And with this new special teams rule, it's going to be interesting to see how even that all plays out. What does Danny Crossman do? How does he formulate, at least the roster on that side?
Yeah,
of
the
football.
kickoffs are going to be fun.
Kickoffs will be fun.
And the Dolphins got a lot of guys they could put back there.
Punt coverage seems like they give up
go.
one a year. They got to stop that because really mistiming those. All right, still to come on our Dolphins schedule release special. We're going to take a look again at the schedule, including the preseason games and what some fun matchups to look forward to in the preseason, because the games don't count, but there are some big stars in these games. We'll talk about that next.
Dolphins Schedule Release 2024 is sponsored by HCA Florida Healthcare, helping South Florida live a healthier tomorrow.
Welcome back to Dolphins Schedule Release 2024. We're going to go through the schedules once again. Obviously, you can see here the regular season, some key matchups in the regular season. The Patriots, Sunday, November 24th. Obviously, they've got Thanksgiving Day against the Green Bay Packers. That's a big one everyone wants to look forward to. And then you got the Jets versus Dolphins to kind of kick off the end of their season there, December 8th. And, of course, that would be the first time we see Aaron Rodgers against the Dolphins. Okay, guys, let's look at the preseason, because obviously these games are on CBS Miami, so we're going to have a lot of fun on these. You got the Falcons versus the Dolphins in that first one, Friday, August 9th, 7 p.m. Then next week, August 17th, the Commanders are in town, and then the only road game for the Fins during the preseason will be just up the road to Tampa as they take on the Bucs, August 23rd. That is Friday, 7:30 at night. Okay. Goldie, we mentioned the preseason, kind of went through it earlier a little quick, but in the break, you mentioned a couple cool storylines. Let's start with that Atlanta game, because I kind of just, we've been obsessing about the Dolphins schedule, but that Atlanta preseason game, that's going to be a lot of fun for a number of reasons.
Well, number one, we'll see if they join practice with the Falcons as well, which will be really interesting because they spent all that money on Kirk Cousins. And then the story coming out of the draft, one of the big ones is Cousins didn't know they were drafting Michael Penix, who eventually will probably be the 36-year-old Cousins replacement. So the interaction between those two guys, but everybody watched Penix in that great year he had in college last year, and you figure in 11 weeks on August 9th, he's going to play most of that game, maybe all of that game here at Hard Rock Stadium.
Well, he will. They're not going to play Kirk Cousins in the preseason. I don't think they play him in the preseason. I think they get Penix. Every snap he can get him ready in case something happens with Kirk Cousins. And I think that's the thing to do. But it's going to be a good matchup. It's going to be good for the Dolphins. It's going to be good for the secondary. It's going to be for the pass rushers, especially when Anthony Weaver's trying to get his new defense in order. And if he's going to play a 3-4, if he's going to play the spread that they played last year. I think he's going to play that nose tackle, 2 defensive ends, 2 outside linebackers.
Do they play the starters on defense in preseason only because it's a new defense? Do you have to get these guys some reps?
They'll play Chop. They'll play those guys. They'll play
Chop and Mo Kamara.
They're playing. They got to play that. And look, they got a bunch of guys in the middle that they picked up that are veterans that they want to find out who's going to be that guy. So I think a lot of those starters are going to play a little more. Maybe the first game, maybe they play 2 series instead of 1. But then I think as you go on, but then you never know that third game. A lot of guys just bring everybody back. My theory is always like, or when we played, we played the last preseason game. Most of us we played 3 quarters that game because we wanted to go in the game with on the upswing. Not having that be the first game you suited up and played. So, but it's a different theory these days. So
people might not know when Bo Camper played, they played like 6 preseason games.
Well, one year we played 7. We played the Hall of Fame game and we played 6 preseason games.
Amazing. Half the season.
That was almost more games than I played in college.
One note about the preseason, you mentioned Michael Penix. How about taking on the Commanders? You're going to get Jaden Daniels. You're going to get the Heisman Trophy winner down here.
Another exciting one.
And if you get the joint practice, you get to watch that kind of unfold for an entire week down here. All right, we're going to go through the schedule again in case you missed it. Again, the Dolphins are going to kick off the season Sunday, September 8th.
Bo says that's a win, by the way.
He's got a win. He also had week 2 against the Bills. That's a win.
Yep.
According to Bo, they go out west and beat the Seahawks. Then the Titans come back here and win. They get some revenge.
Keep going, Cunyo.
September moves into October. We get our first matchup against Drake May and the Patriots. Win. Bye week.
Well,
He'll be eating wings.
Oh, we got Dolphins visiting Anthony Richardson if he's healthy, and
Win.
the Colts win. All right, then we've got Kyler Murray and the Arizona
Kyler
Cardinals.
Murray won't even be in the wouldn't even have read the playbook by that time. Win.
Okay, and
He's playing video games.
According to Bo, this is the Dolphins' first loss of the season.
The Bills?
Dolphins at the
No,
Bills.
I'm not saying
Another
that.
win?
I'm not saying
November
that.
3rd.
I'm not saying
You're
that
not
at all.
saying it. So
I'm stretching it on 7. I don't want to.
Don't get greedy.
maybe they'll be
Who are you,
8.
Tate McRae?
Maybe they'll be
Pigs
8-1
get fat,
after
hogs
Monday,
get slaughtered,
Monday
right?
night
I'm not
against
going to
LA.
go too far.
Another primetime game against LA. How about that? Under the lights in La La Land. That's a great matchup. And then we get Christian Wilkins here, November 17th, Raiders versus Dolphins. And as we move over to the end of November and December, there we go. Again, the Patriots, the big one against the Packers, Lambeau Field, Thanksgiving. We mentioned that one a few times. Aaron Rodgers and the Jets for the first time, December 8th. And then here we go, the final stretch for the season. Oftentimes, this is where a season is. You can make or break your year. It's what happened with the Dolphins last year. We're talking about those games against the
16 and
Titans,
17.
against the Bills. Those were rough. That game against the Browns, again, I've said it 30 million times on this show. I think that one's going to be the one that looms large, not just for AFC East standings, but they're not the AFC, but really the AFC standings where you are in the seeding.
This team needs to get home field advantage.
Yeah,
They
we've talked about that.
They need to get home field advantage. They can't spit the bit.
All right, guys. Before we wrap up, I do want to put the fan hat on for a minute. And guys, Goldie, I'll start with you. If you're a fan, you can budget for one road game this year.
Well, come on.
Where you go?
I mean, it's a no-brainer. I got Bieber, I got Jessica Alba, I got Kate Hudson, I got Leslie Mann, I got Will I Am. All these people show up in LA, especially for the primetime games. If I had to go, I'm going out to LA. I'm going to SoFi so I can hobnob with the big timers because I never get to hobnob with any big timers.
He's all about the sizzle. He's all about the sizzle. That's what he wants.
They call me Sizzle Goldstein. You know that, right?
He's the mayor of Sunrise when you go to a
Now, I also do, but the focus.
Got more sizzle than bacon.
As far as on the field, winning early is going to be the key because you got all those home games early on.
About one game.
You got to get off to a good start.
Which game are you going to go to? You're going to go to LA.
I'm going to LA. You taking me to LA? Private jet?
Stay in Beverly Hills,
Leslie Mann goes to the Rams game. I'm a big fan.
Get Kelsey to give you he'll lend you his private jet.
Maybe I'll be in Taylor's suite like she had in the Super Bowl.
Who was Rob Lowe with the NFL hat in that game?
That'll be me. Yeah.
Bo.
Hang out with Will I Am.
I'm going to tell you what. Thanksgiving Day at Green Bay Lambeau Field, it's a cathedral.
You're going to be freezing, though.
I don't care.
All right.
It's only Thanksgiving. It's not going to be that cold.
We'll
it is a cathedral. If you've never been there,
it's great.
That's a place you want to go. And hopefully it snows because if you go there and it's not snowing, it's not really going to Lambeau Field.
The grass hasn't changed since he played.
Right. You got some good restaurants in Green Bay, I'm sure?
No.
You don't?
No, don't even stay there. You got to stay in Appleton, about an hour and a half away.
They love Bo Camper in Appleton, Wisconsin, by the way.
That's where you go.
Mine would be
or the deli across the street.
That's the last game of the season against the Jets, because if it has any meaning for the Jets season, then the Dolphins can go in to the Meadowlands or wherever they play. MetLife is a Meadowlands.
Yeah, but it's at the Meadowlands. It's all the same.
Right. And they end their season last week of the year. I think that'll be fun for Dolphin fans. Last year, we saw the way Dolphin fans kind of invaded New York.
Yeah.
I'd like to see
Does Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to put you on the spot, does Aaron Rodgers play in that last game? Does he make it to the last game, yes or no?
I mean, if they got to
if they are in that scenario, yes.
If they got to win it to get in the playoffs, right?
There is no shot Aaron Rodgers is healthy for that Week 18.
Wow.
Don't you agree?
I don't know.
He's gonna, I think he's going to have a sponsorship by AARP by the time that comes around, that game.
Why would you take him out of the pool for podcast, guests?
Right.
If he's going to be there soon.
Yeah. I hope he stays healthy. I hope he gives him 12, 13 games.
I don't know that I want him on my podcast.
Really?
I'm not a big fan.
I think he's got some cool stories.
No, I think I want to keep it civil.
Right. You don't want to delve into that.
No. He's a know-it-all.
All right, let's take out some more notable games.
A little bit.
Goldies, these are yours.
Hallucinogenics.
Walk us through your notable games here, Goldie.
Well, you got to win. You talk about some of those quarterbacks, that you're going to play early on. Levis beat him. Josh Allen usually beats him. You got a young guy, presumably, in Drake May. Again, This has got to be, and under Mike McDaniel, it's been great. 3-0 each year, 8-3, and then 9-3. It's got to be a quality start to the season. And based on the pedigree, the way McDaniel has prepared his teams in his first 2 seasons, the Dolphins do have that great chance, especially with that schedule, to get off to that big start, and you have to have it.
Bo, what do you got?
Well, I tell you what, every year there's a game. Someone comes into Hard Rock Stadium, they're not a very good football team, and they walk away with a win. Tennessee did it last year. I'm looking at the Arizona Cardinals right there in about the middle of the season, coming in here, and if you fall asleep on them and you lose that game, you're right back where you were last year, where you're struggling to get any home field advantage at the end. You can't lose a game like that this year at home, period.
No, I'm taking a different route, and again, I just want to see all these new young quarterbacks in the league that we're basically going to see for the next 10, 15 years, hopefully, if all their careers pan out. I mean, we mentioned you see Penix and Daniels in the preseason. I mean, just look at the list here. You got to throw Will Levis up there because he beat you last year. Can't take anything away from him there. Anthony Richardson, Jordan Love, and C.J. Stroud. We've seen Purdy. Purdy's already beaten the Dolphins, but Jordan Love and C.J. Stroud, I'm really interested to see.
No Rodgers on your new blood list?
New blood?
Yeah, no.
It's very old blood.
Old blood.
Old
Blue bloods.
Old blood. All right, and of course,
the XFL next year.
The NFL threw the curveball at us this year with the Christmas Day games.
Yeah.
We got 2, the Chiefs and Steelers on Netflix, followed by the Ravens and Texans, also on Netflix. Guys, what's the NFL doing to the rest of the sport?
I don't know. NBA can't be very happy about
Those games that week. So on December 21st, I believe there's a game. That's the first day of the college football playoff.
Yeah. Right.
They are spreading the games out, I think, between like December 21st and New Year's.
Yeah.
You've got at least one NFL game on the majority of those days.
So when it comes to TV, the NFL is flexing their muscle in a big way.
Flexing on everybody. All right, don't forget, if you missed any of the schedule, check it out. CBSMiami.com will have the full thing on there for you. Go get your year planned out, basically, from Friday, August 9th to January 4th, 5th, and whatever happens in the playoffs and beyond. Hopefully, we're talking about playing into February. It's been a while since we can say that. Hopefully, the schedule 2024 changes to 2025, if you know what I mean.
And don't forget, Bo Camper is guaranteed 7-0. Don't let him forget that.
7-0.
And he guaranteed us a ride.
I might get one of those big chains that says 7-0. Right?
You're going to have snacks in the car on the way to Tampa for that preseason game? You're going to some waters in the back?
I'll become a donut guy.
We'll swing by Bo's Beach,
nice donuts.
grab some
wings,
po' boy, stuff like that. For Samantha, Goldie, Bo,
non-stop to Tampa.
Thanks for joining us here for the Dolphins schedule release. It was a lot of fun. Maybe we'll do it next year.
It's going to be an exciting year. This is going to be an exciting year of Dolphin football.
Yeah, Bo's saying 17-0.
Gas up the truck, Bo Camper.
Yes, you did.
Let's go.
He did say
7,
that.
7, not 17.
I heard 17. So my notes, 17. We'll see you next time.
Dolphins schedule release 2024 is sponsored by HCA Florida Healthcare, helping South Florida live a healthier tomorrow.